They even gifted real parts from the Berlin Wall. Holy smokes! Do you think it's actually safe? Okay, this place is definitely a vibe. We're walking in one of the most dangerous streets. Amazing views too. Wow! Honestly, Guatemala City, you are an absolute... Just checking into our Airbnb to get this party started and checking out what Guatemala City has to offer. The apartment building so far is looking pretty damn fire. Holy smokes! This is great. This has to be one of my favorite features in this Airbnb. I mean, look at this. Located on the 11th floor, this area has a gym, a pool, a business center where you can come and do some work. And honestly, for $94 a night, this place is a steal. Honestly, Guatemala City, you are an absolute gem. Views, amenities, the price point is fantastic. So, let's go. I came across this really cool spot called Café Mimi. What's fascinating about this spot is that they're located inside a flower shop. It's got amazing reviews on Google Maps, located in Zone 10, so we're gonna go and see what the hype is all about and see if it's actually worth it. Okay, this place is definitely a vibe. As soon as you walk in, you're transported to basically like a little forest. It's very Instagrammable, you would say. God, it's hot though. They even have fish in here. Look at this. This is badass. The cafe itself has been here for 8 years. However, the flower shop has been around for 28 years. Imagine that. Got my coffee. That's a lot of coffee, but we're gonna do what we can. A fun fact before I dive in is Guatemala is known for their coffee, so it's worth the hype. That is a very delicious coffee. Slightly silky, smooth, creamy, even though it's straight black. In my humble opinion, this is the elixir of the gods. I love the ambiance, very visually appealing. The coffee is delicious. The customer service was on point and good energy and a good vibe. The food was delicious. I wouldn't say it was amazing, but it was really good. It was really delicious. I enjoyed the fresh fruits. The overall price to value perspective in terms of how much food you get with coffee, drinks, etc. In general, I thought it was very affordable for what you get, and the quality of food was on point, along with the ambience and the overall experience. If you're ever in Guatemala City and perhaps staying in Zone 10, definitely recommend stopping by and getting yourself some brunch or lunch. And we're gonna keep exploring the city and we'll get after it. We're about to go on this tour to check out the city. About 4 hours long. We're definitely gonna get a sense for what is Guatemala City like.
Guatemala City is divided by districts.
We're driving down Avenida de las Americas, which translates to the American Avenue. They have built out monuments dedicated to each country in the American continent. Within that, they actually select artists from those specific countries to build and design the monuments that they have on display here. You can even bike it through. There's a bike lane, and on Sundays, they actually close down this street. It's open to pedestrians only, and you can bring your bike. This avenue, they actually have some monuments where they even have the helicopters and the airplanes used in that war. Civil War lasted 36 years, and then to commemorate and remember those who have fallen. We decided to come out to Plaza Berlin, essentially Berlin Plaza. And the reasoning behind the name, it turns out that way back in the day, a group of German businessmen decided this would be a great place to set up a park, but also having this amazing view in the background where you can see the different volcanoes and on. So they donated the money, and now we even have this bear because that is the mascot of the Berlin city, along with the colors of the Guatemalan flag and the German flag. Fascinating story. Things you don't really think about when you come out out to Guatemala. What is fascinating about this monument, they even gifted real parts from the Berlin Wall. The fact that they shipped out real pieces from the wall and they have installed it here. Wow, this was very unexpected. I never thought I would be seeing this in Guatemala. There's so many undiscovered gems that you just get to see and explore if you come out here and see it for yourself. With the theme of letting the city surprise us, this was a huge surprise. There's a perception that Guatemala City is not safe. Do you think it's actually safe?
Well, as any other big city in the world, there are nice areas and there are some which you have to be more careful. In general, what I suggest for tourists here is to stay in Americas Avenue, Reforma Avenue, in downtown near the 6th Avenue on the way to the main square. Basically, follow the bike lane and you will be safe. There's like a bike lane here. You follow it, you will stay like in the nice areas of the city.
So it sounds like it's like, it's like any other major city.
It's the biggest city in Central America, 3 million inhabitants.
Wild.
Mostly what we have are gangs. They stay in the poor neighborhoods.
What zone would that be?
It could be like zone 3, zone 18, parts of zone 6, parts of zone 5.
So avoid those zones.
Yeah.
Unless you're one of those YouTubers trying to get views and they're like, oh my god, look, I went to the most dangerous neighborhood.
Dangerous, yeah.
God, I hate those guys. Driving in Guatemala is not for the faint of heart.
Bitch, please call me, nah, I don't wanna win the war.
This is zone 4, which is known as the more of a hipster vibe. You get a bunch of restaurants, bars. Check this out.
Bitch, please call me, nah, I don't wanna win the war.
Walking through zone 1, which is a historic downtown. A lot of activity going on here. Lots of people walking around, shopping, a lot of businesses in general. Zone 1 is more of a bohemian vibe. Overall, safety-wise, doesn't feel really as unsafe as people make it seem. With that said, our tour guide did tell us to just watch out with the camera. Apparently, these phones still work.
Yeah.
For 25 chocas, for 25 cents.
Yeah.
Choca, that's what they call it. In case you're worried about safety here in Guatemala City, when you go to Zone 1, there's a ton of cops as well just protecting. ¿Seguro acá o no?
Sí, sobre la sexta sí, ya si se va sobre la séptima o la quinta hay que tener precaución ya.
I mean, there's some areas, like he said, certain avenues that you want to avoid, but in general, he was like, yeah, you're fine to walk around with a camera. With that said, we're not going to pretend that there's no visible poverty in this area. There is. That is the dichotomy of a lot of the cities in Latin America. You have those who have and the have-nots, and especially in Zone 1, you'll see a lot of folks begging for money or playing instruments, trying to get more funds for themselves. That is just part of Latin American countries. We're walking through what's called the Blonde Alley. And what's fascinating about this place is that this was the first building where they ended up mixing business as well as residential. When you look at the top, those are apartments where people actually live. This bar opened up in 1932. It's been around ever since. Fascinating. So Che Guevara used to come here and have some drinks before going off to the revolution in Cuba. This place smells like history, as you can imagine. You could have easily walked by without knowing exactly that this very cool bar was located right there. If you're coming to Guatemala City, check out that piece of history. It's amazing. And grab a drink if you have time. The Guatemalan Association of Astronomy is hosting some sun watching. It just looks like a bright circle. When you start thinking about the historical impact Guatemala City has, it's amazing. In 1821, this where I'm standing was where Central America signed off on their independence in 1821. If you're around and visiting Guatemala City, you gotta make sure you stop by the National Palace and do a tour. They're open Monday through Friday. Unfortunately, we did not make it on time today, but next time you're around, highly recommend it by everyone I've talked to. If you make your way down to Zone 1, make a stop here at the Metropolitan Cathedral. This was built in the 1700s. The other interesting fact that you need to know is that there was a civil war that was sparked in Guatemala in the 1980s and lasted 36 years. In that process, many lives were unfortunately lost. And to commemorate those victims of that civil war, the Catholic Church then decided to go figure out the names of the many victims. They were able to collect 200,000 names, which were then later inscribed in the pillars that were built around the church later in those years. So whenever you come to the church, make sure you take a quick look at the different pillars and you'll see those names of those fortunate victims. But overall, a beautiful place to come visit and really pay your respects to those lives that were lost. So we're walking through the little Mercado here in Guatemala City, which is located right in the heart of the city. Walking through, they have the usual like artisan clothing, purses, whatever you want to get. And then you go down the stairs and you check out what the actual market looks like. This is some fresh produce. Bro, I heard you're trying to work out and get shredded. Look like that? ¿Cuánto tiempo le tomó para hacer esta?
Como día y medio. Esta no tiene patas así, sino como campana.
It said it's harder to make a piñata without feet, just because of the wiring that goes in it. That one is insane! We're walking in one of the most dangerous streets. Biggest criminals of Guatemala congregate. The Congress. The interesting fact is about 55% of the vehicles in Guatemala City are motorcycles, so you'll see a lot of them whenever you're walking around. So we're checking out this spot here, Los Tres Siempo, which is located right in the Civic Center, and they have a really cool rooftop bar. Amazing views too, wow! Wow! It's an awesome view, wow! You cannot miss this place if you're ever around the area. My experience in Guatemala City has come to a close. If you love what you just saw today, don't forget to like and subscribe, but also stay tuned. Catch us in the next video as we head over to Antigua, Guatemala.